Decode how universe affects you. Today we're exploring a really powerful idea. The concept of a single universal code that governs how everything happens. How we make progress, how those big insights are born. And honestly, this is a concept that could totally change how you approach pretty much every challenge you face. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're staring at a problem. Maybe it's a project at work, a personal goal, whatever, and you just feel like there's a secret language to it that you just don't get. You just feel completely and utterly stuck. Well, what if there wasn't a different code for every single problem? What if there was just one underlying principle for making things happen according to our source material? There is, and the key to cracking it starts by taking apart a really common and totally wrong idea. We all have to get at this code. We first have to completely rethink what it even means to be an expert. See, it's not about being perfect or knowing all the answers right from the get-go. It's actually something completely the opposite. This is the image we all have in our heads. Isn't it the genius who just nails it on the first try, who never ever messes up? We're taught to see mistakes as failure, as proof that we're not an expert. But what if that whole idea is fundamentally backward? Now this idea completely flips. The script expertise isn't the absence of mistakes, it's the accumulation of them. So an expert is really just someone who has made more mistakes. And this is the key part, learned from them more than anyone else. They've literally mapped out the entire territory of what doesn't work. And that brings us to this core strategy: effective error. The goal here isn't to avoid mistakes. No, the goal is to make them strategically. You want to accelerate the learning process by trying things. Failing fast, figuring out why you failed, and then trying something new. Making mistakes as quickly as you can. That becomes the engine of insight, okay? So if making mistakes quickly is the engine, how do we steer this thing? Well, the source lays out 7 key principles that basically act as our toolkit for this whole process of discovery. So let's kick things off with the first, and maybe the most fundamental key. This is the bedrock. Everything else is built on top of this one. Key number 1, the unknown is knowable. You absolutely have to start with this belief. The problem that's staring you in the face right now might feel like a total mystery, but it is not unsolvable without this basic optimism. You're never even gonna take that first step. Alright, on to the second key, and this one is all about getting your hands dirty. It's about action. Key no. 2, advance by trial and error. Look, progress doesn't come from just sitting around, thinking about a problem forever. It comes from trying something, seeing what happens, and then adjusting your plan. This is that effective error principle in action. It's a constant cycle of guessing, testing, and learn. The third key, this one makes sure that our trial and error isn't just, random guessing in the dark. So key number 3, measurement and theory are inseparable. Your big ideas have to be connected to reality, and the way you do that is through measurement. As the source says, data without a theory is just a bunch of noise, and a theory without any data, well, that's just a daydream. You absolutely need both to make sense of your results. Now the fourth key is a super powerful tool for getting unstuck, especially when you're dealing with something completely new. Key 4, analogy gives insight. When you have no idea how to even think about a new problem, just ask yourself this: what is this like? By comparing the unknown to something you already get, you build a bridge. You're basically borrowing a framework to unlock a whole new way of seeing things. The fifth key is a good reminder that we're never really starting from scratch. No big discovery ever just happens in a vacuum. That's key number 5, new truth connects with old truth. Every single breakthrough is built on the knowledge that came before it. Real progress doesn't just throw out the past, it connects to it. It expands on it, it refines it, all right. Key number 6, this one's about embracing complexity and really fighting that urge for simplistic black and white answers. Key 6 is complementarity guards against contradiction, okay? So sometimes two ideas can seem like they're total opposites, but you actually need both to get the full picture. Think about a coin, right? Heads and tails are opposites, but you need both to have a coin. This principle encourages us to hold multiple viewpoints at the same time to see the whole truth. And finally, we've got the 7th key, and this is such a powerful reminder that the biggest breakthroughs, they often come from the most unexpected places. And that's key number 7, great consequences spring from lowly sources. The biggest discoveries almost never arrive in some single, dramatic eureka moment. Way more often they grow from a small, overlooked detail, a tiny error in the data, or a little observation that seemed insignificant. So the lesson here is pretty simple. Pay attention to the small stuff. So there you have it, the universal code. It isn't some magic formula you can just plug in. It's a process, it's a mindset. It starts by redefining what an expert is, someone with the courage to make mistakes. And it's guided by these 7 principles of insight. So now I'm going to ask you, think about that challenge that's right in front of you, that project you're stuck on, that skill you're trying to learn. How can you apply this? How can you start making some of those effective errors right now, just to get the ball rolling? And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. The goal isn't to find the code, it's to live the process. It's about a constant commitment to trying things, to failing, to measuring, and to learning. It's about embracing that journey of discovery every single day. The man who worked on this research from John Archibald Wheeler, who considered black hole more about quantum mechanics. The man who worked on this research from John Archibald Wheeler, who conceived black hole more about quantum mechanics.